Hello, my name is LaRee Johnson. I am a pediatric dentist who has been in private practice for nearly 24 years, and I practice conventional treatment, conscious sedation, and I also do a lot of general anesthesia cases. And there are really three key factors I'm looking for when choosing my pulpal medicaments. First and foremost, there has to be positive clinical outcomes for the children that we serve. Secondly, it has to be efficient. Because whether you are in your office and the child, merely has nitrous oxide or the child is asleep, we have to move efficiently to ensure that we're delivering compassionate care and also that we are being fiscally sustainable with our practices, which brings me to the third thing. We have to make sure the cost of the materials that we use allows us to still be able to render care to all the children that need them and still be sustainable in our clinical practice. For me, it has been a very long journey with pulpal medicaments. I was trained with Formocresol and even an attending did elective surgery. And it wasn't until after the birth of my first child, and actually the very first day back from maternity leave, that some Formocresol was spilled in my office. And I realized as soon as I smelled it, and actually it ruined a beautiful countertop, that I wouldn't put this material in my child. And the golden rule in pediatric dentistry is if you wouldn't do it for your own child, you wouldn't do it for anyone else. So I made the switch then, and the journey was long. I went ferric sulfate and sodium hypochlorite, and ultimately landed with MTA in around 2008, 2009. But the materials then were staining, so they would stain through my anterior zirconia crowns and also through my composites when I would do sphectopotomies and things like this. So I gave Biodentin a try, and the results were fine. The problem was I felt like it was not cost effective because I was triturating an entire capsule and only using a little bit for, say, a sphectopotomy or a very small tooth, and I was being wasteful. The other thing that bothered me coming from using MTA products is I couldn't press it firmly and feel confident that I had a seal against the pulp tissue where I could do that with MTA products. I felt like there was a lot of pullback, and then finally the set time was so long that it felt like it was slowing me down in my clinical practice. And then the final issue was the radiopacity. I didn't get to see the beautiful outline of my pulp treatment and understand that the seal was good and that I was getting all the benefits when I had follow-up films. So thankfully in 2015, NuSmile launched NeoMTA, which I went to, which was a non-staining MTA product, which was just fabulous, that still had the handling properties that I liked, where I could firmly affix it against the pulp tissue without pullback. I could generate and create as much material I wanted. I didn't think it could get better than that. And of course there was NeoMTA 2, and then in 2020 NeoPutty came on the market. And it is just the end game for pulp treatment for primary teeth. The successful clinical outcomes, I can tell you, I've been really using MTA products now 15 years, and I can count on one hand the failures that I've had. And I push the limits with these materials. I really, truly do. And with NeoMTA, it is so efficient. The dental assistant literally just dispenses exactly what you need. And I'll say little chamber, big chamber. They know, and they can give you just a little tiny ball with zero waste, zero mixing errors. And then when you do your follow-up, it is truly the most radiopaque material that we have on the market for pulpal medicaments. So when you do your follow-up, there's no question about the placement of your pulpal medicament, the seal of your medicament, and the success is just phenomenal.